while, y'all, that I've done a live stream, and today just seemed to top off the community posts that I had been putting up. I only did two because I really thought it was going to be two, and then where's the rest of this going? Um, but the attacks, the Israel attacks and the bombing and the blowing up and everything went on after my two community posts. Third day was, targeted attacks on some locations. Fourth day was assassinate a couple of leaders. And now we have news tonight of Iran sending missiles against Israel, which is a significant thing, politically significant thing, because they're fighting with Lebanon. They're trying to exterminate Hezbollah. And who's in here? Go ahead and say hello. There's Teresa Jukowitz, long time no see. Hey, and you're a moderator. I don't know if you can see that, but you got the blue wrench, so that's awesome. And there's Aid, and you're a moderator. Woohoo! I definitely want to hear your impressions of what's going on, because you have a different point of view there, Aid. And there's Scrappy Cat and Colleen. Hello from North Texas. And Lost Light. Shalom. Hey, lady. Long time no see. There's Cole and Ken Warland. Shalom. And Cindy P. And Christy Miller. Shalom from Missouri. Shalom, y'all. Ooh, I got a good crowd in here tonight. CB and Tim Pack. I do want to hear y'all's opinions, but I did want to get my points on this topic out there. Hey, Grace Akers. And the Lamp Keeper's Journey. Hello. Yes, it's been busy this summer. Sure has. Loved PJ's videos today. Very fitting. Pasta. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we were shopping. We happened to be in town, and the last time I went to cook, pasta-based meals, we had very little, and it's like, panic. So good. My thoughts. Are we just in the beginning, right? There's Jason in Virginia. Shalom. And Herb Kroll, and there's Jesus, who is a channel member, so she gets a special shout out. Hey, Suze, shalom. Thanks for being a channel supporter. I couldn't get PJ's video to play today, said Teresa. You'll just have to try again. It definitely can. Oh, Herb says no audio. It might be you, Herb, but I'll turn up my sound. I think my sound's turned up. Can you all give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? There's Andy Vetter, shalom, and Margaret Foster, and 5x5 here, Roman Jeeper, shalom, sister. Mandy, hello from Mississippi. Cindy says 5x5. Okay, Herb, I think it's on your end. Sounds good. Good. Thanks, y'all, for the thumbs up. All right, well, let me get into my points. Hey, Lance Corporal Veteran and Chris Bulldog. Huh? Charles Steiger, Lance Corporal Veteran. Hello. Chris Bulldog, boy, he is fast. He is into comments and everything really early on. Oklahoma. And VT Jeep N Outdoors. Howdy. Shalom to all y'alls. It's been an interesting day. There's Fan Man, and I know who that is now after watching my husband's live streams. Who else experiencing a heat wave? There's Puglet. Shalom. I will say we could use some rain in our area for sure. And Muck Boots and Motherhood. Shalom SK. Muck Boots and Motherhood. Who is my editor? I don't know if any of y'all know or don't know. Hey, Grandma Ginger's Farm. Shalom, y'all. Long time no see. Weather Huntress. Good name. Mr. Trauma Boy. Shalom. Been raining here almost 2 weeks. Yeah, the whole East Coast. I don't even want to get into how devastated the whole East Coast is. That's just tragic. Raincat Studio, shout out. She is a channel supporter and has been for a while. Shalom from Washington State. It was unseasonably cool in central Oklahoma. Saucen, good evening. Your hair looks pretty. Oh, thank you. Wi-Fi went out, but I'm back, said Travis Bolt, who is also a channel supporter, so you get a special shout out. I'm in Cali. We don't get rain till November or December. Well, I need rain now because I've got plants that I would like to continue growing, but nothing in the next couple of day forecast. So I've been hand carrying 5-gallon buckets, not full, of water every day or two to water the plants that are still alive in my garden. And I do have, what do you call it? The passion fruit almost every day. I went out tonight and I got 2 more, and they're part of my dessert at night. They're so good. Unicorn Hollow Hunt. Hi, Mother Kate. Glad to see you. Looking forward to the feast. Hey. Excuse me. I got allergies too. Seek truth. Shalom from Oklahoma. I need to remember. Oh, hello from Salt Lake City. Wow, that's a long way away. I need to remember not to move because we have not great service here and I can get very pixelated. Rob says, bless you. Thank you. Kifa of Arizona. Shalom, y'all. And Mike James, bless you. Back to my roots. Bless you. Oh, thank you. That's a lot of nice greetings and stuff from y'all. And I appreciate seeing each and every one of you on the channel. So let me get into what I want to talk about tonight, because I've got a couple of points and then I want to hear back from all of y'all. Southern Kentucky believer. Shalom, everybody. And also, after I talk about what I want to talk about, we can get into some questions if there's believers who are new and want a few things filled in for them. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to talk about is the Israel war with Lebanon extending into Iran. Oh, and there's Reverend 20 Peace.
What's up?
What's up? Thanks. Oh, look. Photobomb. Shaloha says, Champ du Soleil. And the real Cheshire Cat says, Shalom. Champ du Soleil. I totally expect you to speak up on what I'm trying to talk about tonight. We knew Israel was going to go after terrorists after October 7th last year, when there was that horrific attack on the Nova celebration. And that was almost a year ago. October 7th is rolling around for the first year anniversary. But it's years and years that Israel has been at odds with their neighbors. They've been having these skirmishes and these terrorist attacks and these small wars, 7-day war, things like that. And Israeli citizens have been getting shot and stabbed and blown up, not usually in the numbers that we saw last year. And so it's not like this is new for Israel. They've been taking and getting, their athletes kidnapped and killed at Olympic events and things like that. I mean, it's been 30, 40, 50, even more years of them getting poked and prodded and kidnapped, and there being, a lot of friction on their borders and everything. And I think just the numbers of people who were killed and kidnapped in the October 7th attack last year is what really was the straw on the camel's back for the nation of Israel. And then to think about Benjamin Netanyahu, whose brother Yoni was a war hero, he's got a mindset there where he doesn't want to keep taking it, and he wants to defend his country, and he wants to get some justice. And so it's almost a roll up to the anniversary, kind of explains, what they started with, which was like a shock and awe thing. I shared, I think it was on Instagram today, a story of a Jewish, I think he's a rabbi, talking about the 7 points to these attacks. And they've got a biblical foundation, but he gave the different like surprise and, attack them how they least expect it, and don't stop your attacking, like don't just do one day, keep going, and all sorts of things. So, that is number one, because in the Bible, war with Jews in Israel is one of those end time things that happens, that they're at war with basically everybody, right? So that's my number one. And let me see what your comments are in here. Hey, Heather 7, long time no see. All right, so let me go back. There's Ozark Geek. Shalom. Israel has always been surrounded. Shalom, sister. Israel is now surrounded. All right, let's see. Okay, so Trump du Soleil, if you have any comments, I would love to hear from you and anyone else who has comments about what I just said. And let me scroll. Love you on Shellfire Mountain. I'm in North California, way northern, in the good part of California. I know I've been missing the live. Sorry. Rereading Ezekiel 38. Jason in Virginia says he hope it doesn't spread, because if it spreads, it's worse for Israel for sure. But then it's more, in my mind, steps towards, more eventualities that could be an end. And there's Kay Island Hay from New Jersey. Are you from Jersey? Mr. Trauma Boy, the one who watched over Israel does not sleep or slumber. That's very true. Staff Sergeant Jinxie Wright, blessings from Texas. All of this is foretold in Scripture. It's Yah's plan, says Champ du Soleil. It is foretold in Scripture. And the funny thing is, there's Lone Star Living. Hello, shalom, brother. And USMC Kanahoe 91. And Lone Star, you are a moderator. I'm sure you realize that. I haven't seen Kaneohe in a long time. I don't think it will spread. It's logistically too hard, says Fanman 8102. Well, the thing that I found fascinating is the fact that Israel also bombed Yemen. Technology is on the side of this thing being able to spread in a different way than, some people pictured, where nukes just go off and everything gets exploded. The fact that they could, hey, bomb a Buckeye, got to give him a shout out because he is also a channel supporter. Thank you so much. The fact that Israel was able to blow up, how many was it? 3,000 phones? I mean, that's pretty widespread without having fired a shot, which is what one of their, what do you call it? Oh gosh, military spokesman said. He made a point in a video. I think it was a military spokesman, said like this opening salvo, if that's what you want to call it, was done without firing one bullet, one shot. It's a different kind of warfare. There is Shirley Griffin. Thank you for sharing. And Numa-chan. Shalom, SK and PJ and Patreon peeps. When you said spread, I think boots on the ground. Maybe not practical for Israel, since they are not a huge army and their neighbors are so many. So the digital world can be offering them ways of doing things without them having to actually do that. And it's almost, and I made this point in a video, it's almost like the terrorists getting a taste of their own medicine. The fact that these attacks came in the way that they did, because that's the way IEDs and, pot shots and snipers and the occasional rocket is how they have been attacking other people for years and years. All right, I'm going to have to lean forward, so sometimes it pixelates, but I have to do that in order to scroll to read some of your comments. Trumpets will make it all forgotten. All right, so let's see. This might sound random and stupid, but why do some people spell Israel with a Y? Yisrael. I'm just a dumb hick from Missouri. It is, I think, a Hebraic pronunciation. Jason, shalom, brother. Heard you may be coming down for Sukkot. I'm sure that would be cool if it were true. Looking for the rapture, said Buckshot. I'm not a rapture believer. I'm a believer in Bible events happening the way they have been described. So I'm not a rapture believer. But, whatever. Everyone's got their rights in America to believe what they want. Hey, there's Red Prepper, also a channel supporter. Thank you so much. I think the terrorists are shocked. Given Hezbollah's fondness for booby traps, it's a bit poetic that they all got their pants blown off. That's kind of the point I was making. Like, it kind of struck me on the day that all those explosions happened. Like, this is what you've been doing to other people. You've blown people's arms and legs off. We've had soldiers killed, Humvees turned over, quadriplegics, paraplegics, all sorts of things happening. And now it's like a taste of their own medicine times a lot. Excuse me. Let me see what else y'all are saying. Matt Bias. Woohoo! Caught a live stream. Yes, you did, Matt. Coal Miner's Daughter. Shalom SK. Hope y'all are doing well. Thank you. And thank you for dropping by. The encouraging community. The bad people get raptured. Biblically, there's a parable about the wheats and the tares, and that is, I think, what encouraging community is referencing. And in that parable, it is the tares who are taken first. So, Kevin Little, nice to see you. Shalom. Bernie Colvin, does Israel smack Iran, and does that bring in their ally Russia? Bernie has put his finger right on the crux of that whole situation right there. And thank you for bringing that up, Bernie, because with Iran being backed by Russia, and was it the Lebanese ambassador to Iran who was assassinated? I think it was. If Iran gets involved, now you've got some power players going. Now you've got some bigger picture going. And Russia's already, knee deep in the Ukraine situation. So how much can they actually get involved? And there's Harbor Prepper, who's also a channel supporter. Thank you so much, Harbor Prepper, and shalom. The Covenant Homestead. This is the first time Iran has fired into Israel. Is it the first time, though? I think they have done other things in the past. But I'm not an expert on that. I will say that. And I could ask PJ because he'd know. But lately, absolutely, you're right. There's Johnny Highwoods. Shalom. And Brother Tim. Double tap the screen to like the show, said Lone Star Living. All right, Mike James. They love their anonymity, their face covering, and they were surgically exposed to all those who congregate with them. Woo, that's a sharp way of putting that. Mike James. Let's see. I think Russia has got a lot going on. Me too. 100 in the side chat. Awesome. Yeah, thank y'all. Thank you all and welcome. And please comment. I really do want to hear y'all's opinion. So WX, is that weather or wax huntress? Because I really like that. But it is a signal nonetheless that things are lining up for such an event. Exactly. And that's why I decided I had to do a live stream tonight to address that in some way, shape, or form, right? Tell Pastor Joe thank you for his time. I will do that. Let's see. Red Prepper, looking forward to the Feast of Trumpets and then the last trumpet on the day of the Lord after the time of Jacob's trouble. Wink. Yeah, Feast of Trumpets is going to be awesome. It's Sukkot is a wonderful feast time because it's got so much symbology to it, and symbology that I personally can get excited about. Normally, I have at this time been harvesting grapes off of my vines and processing wine to share with the brothers and sisters at Sukkot, which I think has so many biblical echoes to it. And it's one of those spirit filled things that I look forward to. This year, however, will be different for me. I didn't get enough grapes. Between the deer and my grandchildren, I've got 1 quart of grapes. So I seriously doubt I'm going to be making any wine with that. I may just bring the grapes and let people eat them. But it's also that the harvest, right? It's a spiritual harvest. It is a spiritually charged time. It is a time of joy, but it's also a time of reflection with atonement coming up also, and the idea that Yeshua would be there and judging everyone. So it's joy and also, whoa, I hope I've been doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I need the face plant in front of, my salvation. And also it's a great time getting together, socializing and celebrating with the other believers. And as an American Girl Scout leader, it's also that time of the year when I used to camp with my family and with my scouts. And so that's a fun time for me too. All right. Let me see what else is going on here. Weather. So weather huntress. Okay. Thank you. Happy to catch a live stream. Blessings on you and PJ. Yahweh wins in the end. Good point, Raincat. And I hunt. What do you hunt? Gog and Magog. I thought Gog and Magog was Russia and maybe China. Although I think it's London. They have a Gog and Magog like parade thing that goes on once a year. So it's interesting. It feels like things are getting more tense. Not that I can do a whole lot about it, but I appreciate this community. Right. Like we personally are not going to affect what's going on over there except to pray or donate money or whatever. I'm not taking up arms and going over there and fighting. So you have to, what is that? The macro's over there. The micro is in your area. What are you doing? Tonight, I went and I picked more cowpeas from my garden, more tomatoes, which the plants were given me by someone else in my area. And they're just doing really well right now, which is unusual for me. Normally it's a struggle to do tomatoes, but the tomatoes are awesome and the cowpeas are awesome. And so, like, what am I doing right now? I have my own harvest happening in my garden and the spiritual harvest, which is, I've said it before in videos and live streams, the feast days of Yahweh are a time when spiritual activity, in my opinion, gets heightened. Good things happen in a heightened way and bad things happen in a heightened way, and the spirit moves in a very strong way. Amanda's Homestead Journey. Good evening. Shalom. Harbor Prepper. According to CBS News, Iran did fire a round of ballistic missiles into Israel in April this year. Yeah, I thought maybe they had, but they hadn't really, just firing a few missiles across the border when the Iron Dome is there is not really like a big military action, if you get what I mean. It's totally different to have your terrorists go on Israel's territory and to do actually injure Israeli citizens. That's different. This is so nice to meet you in person, virtually. Well, thank you. Same. Kifa observer. Amen. Pharma. Hey, Pharma. Shalom. Kevin Little. Putin is kicking back to see what we do in response to these attacks. I'm sure he's got somebody's eye on it. Somebody in his, government is probably having to watch around the clock right now. Monitor. That's what I'm trying to say. Monitor that situation and keep him up to date. Okay, Mark Chase, shalom, and there's John Ria. Hello, foxes. I finally hung up one of those towel racks you made me. It took me forever to figure out where I wanted it to go. So that they did not go to waste. Please define spread. Do you mean more countries involved or up in the ante among those already involved, or both? I meant more countries involved. Philip Hales, truly, sphere of control is to pray. Okay, so now, does anyone else have anything else to say about that particular thing? I will wait and see if you guys. You can maybe give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on to my second point. And I'll wait to see. I think my phone, no, my phone did not freeze up. Thumbs up? Anybody? Can anybody do that? Oh, maybe my phone did freeze up. All right, let's see. Oh, well, there's your comments. Awesome. All right, let me get in there. Oh, thank you for all the thumbs up, y'all. Yeah, there's Brenda Prince. Shalom, lady. All right, I see all that. Yep. October 7th is also the anniversary of the defeat of the Ottomans at the Battle of Lepanto. That is important because the Ottomans were kicking a rear end when they were like what do they call? A caliphate. Am I starting a fall garden? Yes, I am. I've already planted cabbages. I've got carrot seeds and turnip seeds. And as soon as I have some space, I'm going to plant them. There is, Engineered to Succeed. All right, got lots of thumbs up. I think the best thing is to have faith in the Lord's work. Don't fear, be patient, and keep your head on a swivel. All sound advice. Christopher Walker, shalom. Big B, Iraq issued a threat to U.S. assets if Israel responds. Yes, there is the counter effects. What am I trying to say here? If we get involved, other people have said they will get involved. Just like if Iran gets involved, Russia said they will get involved. So there is a potential if the smaller player characters, the central player characters, escalate. If it escalates and we get involved, this is a much bigger deal. Just like if Russia gets involved, it's a much bigger deal. There is Robert Saker. Welcome to the channel. Prep to live, don't live to prep. All right. There's already 35 votes on the poll. That's pretty cool. So then I wanted to address something that Champ du Soleil had sent me earlier, which is Damascus and the Bible prophecy of Damascus becoming a ruin, a heap, which has not ever happened. But some of Israel's airstrikes were in the Damascus area, and maybe you all know more about that. And I have more to add on that, but I think that's really something that now has a possibility of happening, whereas when it was just small actions across borders, it probably wasn't going to happen. Action, reaction, cycle causing positive feedback loop. Well, and that's where, what do they call it? Diplomacy comes into the mix. Diplomacy becomes very important when you have big situations like this going on an international scale, which is another reason why your candidate running for president should have international experience. And in my opinion, there's clearly one of two running right now who has had and has that experience on many different levels. Big B. Israel FAFO'd. They sure did. They sure did. And like I made the point earlier in the live stream, they were very patient. They had put up with a lot of terrorist activity starting on the big scene back in the Olympics. And I think it was 78 when their athletes were taken hostage and some of them executed. That is when it really started. So that's 50, 60, years of them with the terrorists poking them. Bashar al-Assad has suggested that Syria is going to get involved to support Lebanon. Should he do so, things in Damascus will get biblical. There you go, right? Something for us to keep our eyes on. Just like when people come to me and say, oh, do you think this is again, Sister Kate? Oh, Sister Kate, should I be worried? New York is whatever, and we see these signs and so on. Two witnesses, y'all. That's my, okay. If two witnesses go on for 3 days and are shot and, they rise again or whatever, then I'm 100% in, 100% convinced. Okay, Johnny Highwoods. I do work for an IDF guy. He said 6 weeks ago he thought Israel would bomb Tehran. So watch for that too. He is over there now in Israel. I wish he paid me before he left. Raw food writer. Oh, hang on. Should we be concerned with the port strike? I saw you and PJ did a grocery run. Not a bad idea. I think it certainly has the possibility of being a big deal. I know my husband's done videos on it. Everything's coming from China. I mean, let's just face it. Walmart gets everything from China. Do goods from China come in our East Coast or our West Coast? Probably our West Coast. However, our East Coast does a lot of, import, unload. New York City, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, there's a lot of very big cities along the coast who do business in their ports. And is it going to have an economic impact? Absolutely. And now think about that in relation to this natural disaster that's happened. How are supplies going to be getting to those cities who desperately need them if the ports are closed? They're going to have to come all the way from other ports, like down by Texas or out by California. It could take a long time. Our transportation secretary is known for not, doing a very good job or caring about getting stuff off of ships into ports. So it has a potential to be a big deal for sure. And making a run on a grocery store right now, I'm not a fan of waiting to a last minute to try to get all these supplies. I'm a fan of knowing how to deal with not getting any of that stuff and still being okay. Is that me saying don't go get supplies? No. I get weekly supplies of groceries and stuff. So I think that's for each man to decide for themselves if they think they need to go get some now or not. Okay, I need to look at a message that's being held for review. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do that. We're going to have to hide that one. Sorry, Philip. All right, another moderator handled it. Thank you, moderators. We just need to be careful what we're saying on the channel. I don't want to get too in depth. Okay, let me go back. Okay. JC Fixer, shalom, beautiful people. China is going to want their corn we sell to them. which is fine. It's just how's it going to get here? China Mart, laugh out loud. I've used that for years, Reverend 20 piece. When Damascus gets destroyed, I would think we would be engaged in a much bigger conflict. Syria would have to enter the conflict, and that would definitely cause the war to spread. Exactly. So it's not me saying I think that's going to happen soon. That's me saying there is possibility of that happening. And my throat's getting dry. I haven't talked this much in a while. There is Mad Celt. Shalom, my brother. Always good to see you. We were at Costco and no ground beef and little other meat, says Mike Jones. There are alternate proteins too, nuts, beans, etc. Shalom, Desert Jack. Nicola. Any updates on PJF's recent concern over local terrorist cells? Nothing so far. All right. I think that's the same message. There's PK79. Shalom, Sister Kate and PJ and Papa Trucker. Good evening, SK. Old Trappers, howdy. We have what we need for a good long while. Pharma is uniquely set up. She is rural. She is independent. She has gardens. She has goats who produce milk. She is a squared away lady. And yeah, she has what she needs for a good long while. Gosh, I asked y'all a question and I was just going to ask it again, and then it slipped out of my mind again. Excuse me. So, Jinxie Wright, I have MREs and shelf life milk on deck. PJ does not like shelf life milk, but I do. It's very useful to be able to just stick it up there and not have to refrigerate it. Harbor Prepper says, our putative Commerce Secretary, when asked about the potential impact of the LA strike, replied, I haven't really been following that. Really sad. Right. That's what I'm talking about. That he doesn't seem very concerned about those things and what effect it's going to have on people. At least he didn't back then. If the ports are closed, we can't send it to them. They get corn and grain from us. They depend on it, says JC Fixer. John Ria, are you sending stuff like that over there? I saw in the news last week that container ships were already being redirected to the West Coast. That's a long way around, even going through a canal. Praise Yahweh for our fruits and what is able to be harvested. Animals need to eat as well. Praise Yahweh. That's right. Father translated the works of Antonio Gramsci, Cultural Marxism, into English. Apologies for the earlier comment, SK. Yeah, I mean, let me just put it in a very, very vague, very honest way. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. Under a good transportation secretary, we would not have trains exploding or catching fire. We would not have trucks with chemicals spilling. I'm just not impressed. All right, Matthew Bias says, the way I look at things, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. A small-scale homestead. This past Saturday, my son, myself, and a few friends made roughly 13 gallons of apple butter. Whoo, that's hobo gold. Something we like to say when we're really impressed. Yeah, that stuff is awesome. As a matter of fact, I made some curry this week using a jar of curry sauce already made that I bought. I didn't make it myself. I can make curry from scratch, and I often do, but I was tired, and so I used this particular curry. And the pastor and I had eaten at a local Indian restaurant that has a buffet, and the buffet had, I think, 6 types of chutney, which it took me a little while to figure out that the chutney was just sort of flavors that you kind of add when you're doing the curry. Like you have your main curry and then these different chutneys, and some of them are sour, some of them are tangy, some of them are sweet, and then you can dip whatever bread you're eating with your curry into these sauces, and it's a whole flavor sensation. And so one of the chutneys I chose, because again, I was tired, I just put apple butter in a little dish and I had that and dipped my bread in it. And it was wonderful. And it's wonderful on toast with cottage cheese as well. So, man, you guys, you are rolling in it now. I have no idea what Iran will do. Shalom, Sister Kate. And PJ says, Jimmy Carr, welcome to Costco. I love you, Costco. One of my goats freshened 2 weeks ago. Yay! Always nice to, I don't know if you're milking your goats right now or not, but it's always nice to have the option. Freeze drying spaghetti with meat sauce. Going to do some beef stew next. There you go. You guys are on it. You guys are handling your business, and that's important. Mike Liparachi, evening SK, long time no hear from you. How are you doing? Sometimes powdered milk is good to have for ingredients in a pinch, especially the babies. Absolutely. Powdered milk is also fine. It's so convenient to have the shelf stable milk. You don't have to mix it or anything. You just open the container and I think it tastes okay, especially when it's refrigerated. Harbor Prepper says, if anyone has a Stop and Shop nearby and is looking to stock up, they have Campbell's Chunky Soups on sale. 99 cents a piece if you buy 6. That's a really good price, y'all. We've been freeze drying our extra eggs from our chickens. Done 24 dozen this month. That's also a really cool thing to have. You can cook with those eggs. You can use them for feeding your dogs. Like, you get them freeze dried, they're going to last forever. So that's really, really convenient. Engineer just apple butter is where it's apple butter is the bomb diggity. I have to go to New Jersey end of the week for my mom's funeral. Not looking forward to it. Bad timing. So sorry for your loss. Yeah. Excuse me, gotta sneeze again. Oh. Excuse me. Allergies mess with me. Yeah, just with the strike and the flooding in the south part of the country, oh, I can't imagine the traffic. Prayers for your safe journey. Am I prepper? Hello, Sister Kate, and everyone else. Shalom. I have to drop off. Thank you so much for the conversation. Please be safe. Shalom. You too. Oh, I made apple pie filling with my apples this year. I have made apple pie filling and canned it. And yes, it was wonderful to be able to make a crust and just pour it out on the crust. So that's great. I have powdered and evaporated milk I can use. Plenty of meat, chickens, and ducks too. Plenty of food for my 2 dogs and the birds. Lots of ways to filter and catch water if needed. Toiletries and waste disposal. So you, Papa Trucker, have got it going on. A little tip. I don't think I put it in my book either. Oh, that's right. I was gonna shamelessly plug my book. It's called Homestead Hints. It's on Amazon. It's, I think, $13, and it has lots of tips on homesteading to save you time and money. And what I was going to say is, I don't think it's in there, but you can make curry with evaporated milk. A lot of curries are made with coconut milk, but if you don't have coconut milk around, you can make it with evaporated milk, and it's still delicious. There's trying and doing. Shalom. Hello, lady. She is a lady who tried and did in her lifetime, and it has deservedly kind of slowed down in her later years and just is a fantastic human. Yellow Thai curry is my favorite. So good. I like the green Thai curry. Jensen Family Homestead. Shalom. Prayers for you and yours for Mad Kel. Lee Borneman. Welcome to the live stream. Good copy. Still have chores to do. Shalom. K Island at Madkel. I'm sorry for your loss. Mothers are very hard to lose. That is true. Made a strategic move on my employment. Things are finally going to start happening around here soon. And things have been happening for you, lady. I've seen you on Instagram. You guys are making progress. Blessings and shalom from JS Badger. Sarah did 78 pints of applesauce this season. The apples were great this year. Applesauce is another just bonus. Love it. Really, really would like to visit High Prairie Acres and check our apple trees. And I think I'm just going to be too late. And so not going to be doing apples either this year. That's all I'm saying. Bless you, S cases, Bama Buckeye. Thank you. In the middle of cooking a very late dinner. Yeah, it is. I had to travel a couple of weeks ago for work and was happy to get it done. Home for a while now. What is on the menu for Pie Day? Apple pie. I've been making venison jerky for the last couple days on a second batch now. We've made it in the past with teriyaki flavoring that we did ourselves, and it was so good. Our daughter took it to school and sold it to her friends at lunchtime. My mother-in-law passed away here in our house 20 days ago. She would have been 83 tomorrow. Wow. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, Mandy. It's time for brothers and sisters to draw close and build community while time is still in favor. Work on sustainable systems and exit the tracks and leave the system. All glory to Yahweh and His will. It's been time. It's always time. It is. It's important on so many levels, because not only could these, international events be causing bigger issues to happen in our lives, but we've also got the small events like the happenings in the Southeast that affect everyone there. And if people there had community and had alternate routes and alternate places to go and bug out stuff and had reached out, so there were options for them when the storm was coming and they could leave, it would have helped them. And I'm not saying people there did it wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying when there's emergencies, it's really tough to go through it just all by yourself, even if it's COVID. Like, I can't imagine having COVID and having been alone, because there were some rough couple of days there. So PK79 makes an excellent point, and it's always relevant. Homestead Hints is awesome, said Madcal. Thank you. I've been working hard since my mom's passing in 2014. Basement and second bedroom are full up. Well, you've done your bit then. You need to give yourself a little. All right, Whitney Wells. Hello. My wife, her daughter, was her hospice nurse. Aw. I bet she took good care of her. I didn't know you wrote a book. That's exciting. Congratulations. Yes, Christy Miller, my Muck Boots and Motherhood, who was on here, is my editor, and I believe it came out a year ago, but maybe 2 years ago, specifically just to be like a primer for homesteading. It's not very long. It's written in a way that's easy to understand, and it's full of information from our experience as off-grid homesteaders. So you can find it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, and it's under SK Fox, and it's called Homestead Hints. It's a really good present for Sukkot. Harvest Right Company would make a killing profit right now if they dropped their prices on their freeze dryers by 50%. I would love to have one, but don't have. Yep. They'll drop the price when they have to, but they're not going to if people will keep paying it. 2-quart mason jars are perfect for storing linguine, spaghetti, and age your hair to get the most product in the jar, but all pasta works, of course. I have a cereal storage plastic container that is tall enough for a whole spaghetti thing to fit in it, and it has a little window on the top that opens and closes, so I can put the packages in the cereal box, and then when I want, I open that little thing and take out, a pound of spaghetti, and I can put it back in. So that's how I'm storing it. But yes, 2-quart mason jars would also do that as well. And they're, especially in our area, the, what do they call them? They're little teeny moths. Oh man. Where do you store your food? Cabinet moth. No. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. Anyway, these little moths come in and they will eat through plastic bags and ruin things like your cereal or your peanuts or your raisins. If you've got them in a plastic bag, even if it's sealed, they chew right through it. And so mason jars are perfect for storing things like that, for your dry goods, your flour and everything. Kay Island, what a blessing she was with the family, a great gift for her. Yeah, that brought up a point with Sister Vicky, who passed. The one thing that we tried to do as a community was so to let her know how much everyone cared about her and to visit her basically up till the day she passed, to let her know she was loved. And I think that's important. So yeah, what a blessing. To be honest, the pastor's video the other day about the intel spooked me a bit. Yep, you want to be ready. It's not prophecy, it's just local news, and it's never bad to be ready. How sweet, have a goal of serving one master by getting out of debt. Yep, getting out of debt really helps. Red Prepper said, this is so much better than watching the vice presidential debate. Well, thank you. That's a great compliment. And you guys are part of the reason for it being so wonderful, that you input and that you have intelligent things to input. And you've segued us into my third point for the night. So give me a thumbs up if you want to move on to that, and I will do that because we are right on the cusp of that right now with your comment. And I will also say I watched a series called Sons of Liberty on Amazon Prime, and it was again about our founding fathers for our country, and it was also a good rendition and brought up some very important points about our government and how it was formed and everything. And unfortunately for us, like, we are kind of like, oh, vice president, whatever, but vice president should be important, and it's important for the person running for president to pick a good vice presidential candidate. And I know we've seen in the past presidents trying to pick sort of unknown guys to kind of lift them up, into the spotlight. And I'm not so sure that's the best way to do it. I think that a better way to do it is get a popular person, or has something going for them. They're good looking, they're well spoken, they've had some time in front of the television news, talking about issues that were important to them, so the voting populace can relate to that person. And so I wish our vice presidential debate was something that would catch our attention and that we wouldn't be bored with it. But have you heard of any methods to cook the mRNA out of protein? I have not, you betcha. I will just admit that right out front. Yeah, I don't know. And I thought mRNA was injectable, but I guess it's being put into food stuff too. So maybe boiling it, cooking it at a high temperature, but I don't know. I think avoiding it's probably the best thing. All right. I'm going to have to look into that chutney. I don't think I've ever tried it. One of the chutneys that you can make yourself is to get fresh mint and put lemon juice on it until it's like a little paste, like crush it up. tangy. Ooh, need to make some deer jerky. Gotta go. I'll teach history. I teach history like y'all's son. Thank you, man. Okay, Philip. Can't wait to get the book, said Brenda. It's biblical, and I've constantly been aware of it all, and it's taxing me a lot. Live intel is half bull, Sister Kate, so I've been keeping stocks. Yep, you have to look at everything you hear with an eye of discernment, or else it's like Chicken Little with the sky is falling all the time. I hear the elusive man, myth and legend shuffling in the background. Hi, PJ. What type of sheep do you have, PJ, have? They look like Katahdin. Done a video on them. Mike James, we have done many videos. Not so much me. I'm more a goat lady, but I know PJ's done, and they are meat sheep. So Katahdin is one kind of meat sheep. There's more than one kind. I think there's Florida cracker and all sorts, and they're doing fine. So Katahdin or Katahdin mix has worked for this area. I'll see you in 2-quart jars. I'm saving my rewards point at Feldman's Farm and Home to get one of those Harvest Right freeze dryers. Halfway there. Papa Trucker, I hope you have a channel because you sound like you know what you're doing. Pantry, yes, all y'all. Pantry, thank you. Pantry moths, yes. In reference to freeze dryers, exceptional discounts on previous year Benton Dent. That's how we got ours. That's a good tip. Okay. Vac sealed some chicken bone broth today. That's awesome. I want to can some chicken broth. I had found myself in an attempt to cut down on saturated fat in our diet. Instead of frying everything in oil, I have been frying a lot of things in broth, which has a 0 saturated fat and very little calorie. And so I've been using a lot of broth, and I need to make my own and can it. We've got a pantry 8 feet wide by 16 feet long. If shelves down one side, still need to get the shelves down on the other side. You are lucky to have a pantry. Excuse me. Goodness. Love you all. Readiness and awareness. Okay. All right. So I got my thumbs up. So here's my third point. The U.S. election and what you all think is going to happen there. And especially if Iran does what it does and Russia gets involved. Who do you want to be at the helm of the country? Who do you think will do a better job? Do you think it's important, our election this time around? Because with all this boiling, it seems to me it's going to be a pretty darn important election. And I'm going to bring us back in time to when Jimmy Carter was president and Ronald Reagan was elected right after him. And while he was president, and he's a nice man, he just turned 100, amazing, you know, a life of service, hard worker. The Iranians who had taken a bunch of hostages and were holding them in the embassy, they held them a really long time, like 300 plus days, because they knew Jimmy Carter was a nice guy. Now, something that most people don't know about him is he was also a submariner, and he was really smart, knew a lot about nuclear stuff and submarines. But he was not hawkish, I guess is the way you say it. He was not hell-bent on getting us into a war. And so the hostage situation went on and on and on. And as soon as Ronald Reagan got elected, then they wanted to deal because they knew he was hawkish and they knew he would go to war. And so the diplomacy there and the presidency there was very, I'm trying to say easy to see. It was very, like you just couldn't miss the fact that once one president was finished with his term and the next one was elected, the the Iranian terrorists were okay, we gotta make this deal. We gotta return these hostages. We don't want to go to war with America right now. And it's the same with when um, Trump was not elected and Biden came into office, and the Afghan war just fell apart. Just a horrible situation, withdrawal, no order, billions of dollars of equipment left in Afghanistan, 13 or 14 military people killed in one day during that withdrawal. And it was just so obvious that going from Trump, who was a deal maker and wanted peace, and he didn't start a single war during his whole term, likes to do the make deals with everybody, get along with everybody, be able to get Mexico to help pay for all these people crossing the border and help pay for the wall and everything else. Once he's out of office, that withdrawal was just terrible. That was our money. That was our tax money. All that military equipment that got left there, that our government left and lost, that was our tax money that paid for all that, y'all. That affected us each personally. And I don't know if people, were serious about that. So, yeah, anyway. I hope we will go to an election in November. Hello, Lynn Wilkerson. Welcome. The principle for which we contend is bound to reassert itself, though it may be at another time and in another form. There's the Sasquatch. Good evening. Long time no see. I would opine that most would-be presidents choose someone who has zero chance of outshining them. Fragile egos don't do well in politics. There's Landon Wold. Shalom. I ate out tonight, almost went in the shawarma place I drove by just to take the pulse of the Arab Muslim community, but figured they would not like my 6th Light Division shirt with the 6-pointed star. Yeah, you don't want to start no stuff, won't be no stuff. But it's always good to keep your finger on the pulse, because if October 7th is going to be a touch point for them, you want to know that. You want to know how it may affect your community. Hey, there is SAW Survival Application Weapon System. Shalom. Long time no see, brother. Welcome to the channel. You're kind of coming in at the end. We had talked about the Israel war with Iran and Lebanon and things happening. We talked about Damascus becoming a ruin. And now we're on to the U.S. election. Do we think it's going to be important? How do we think it's going to affect things vis-a-vis what's happening? And if Iran gets involved in this war with Israel, then Russia gets involved. What president would you like to have in office? All right, Papa Trucker. I have a channel on TikTok, but it's really about prepping, just daily life, older stuff. It's on YouTube, nothing here. Gotta bail and do laundry. Shalom. Good to see you, brother. I'm in Central Texas and would love to pick up a new Ram. Katahdin would be great. I would just go on Facebook and see who's got them for sale in your area, because if you buy them in your area, then they're probably suited to your humidity and your heat and all that stuff. Lone Star Living, Border Czar. MI is for military intelligence. What I did in the Army 30 years ago. I've never been to Michigan. I always get it mixed up. I'm so sorry for that, MI prepper. Carter was a far better ex-president than he was president. Nice guy. I hope Trump is your president and Pierre is our prime minister, says Pharma. She's a Canadian, y'all. She can see from outside who she thinks we need. Andy Frizella and TJ Morrison and arm wrestle for president. Funny. I appreciate your career choice. Either option, this selection is scary. No of voting reform. So what are we going to get? How's it going to affect us? We don't know. Jimmy Carter was just too naive about many world leaders and political movements in other countries. My dad served with President Carter when they were both on active duty. Dad said he was a fine man, but lacked the mettle to be president. Nicest guy ever, but totally out of his depth as POTUS. Well, I think that kind of politically played out Apparently, Vance mopped the floor with walls tonight. Shocked, I tell you. It's so surprising. What is Walls going to be able to offer? Not a whole lot.
Give me my wife back.
Look, we're having a good discussion here, and we still haven't heard what everybody thinks about our election. I'm aware of the Iranian hostage crisis and revolution. I was alive, but I don't remember it. My first memory is from around 1982, because you're a baby. You're not old enough. Across the table with Bob. Shalom, Mother Kate. Shalom.
Hello, brother.
You're coming in kind of late on the live stream. We've been talking about stuffs right now. We're talking about the election and how is it going to affect what's happening in Israel with Iran and Lebanon right now. Do you have anything? I'll be working as a poll worker here in Cable County, West Virginia, doing my best to make sure from the poll aspect that it is as upstanding as possible, and we have caught, stopped some misdoers. Well, there you go. Good job. I was in the UK when that happened, said Aid. So, Aid, since you were in the UK when the Iranian hostage thing happened, what was your opinion of it? I have the unfortunate thought that the big get even is coming one way or another.
Probably like 6 years old or something.
Aid's older than he looks, I think. Excuse me. He might have been a young punk running the streets.
1980?
I don't know. Just the seasoning might be different. There is Journey of John. Shalom, Sister Kate. Okay. Elections are always important. I would really not like to have the cackle in chief. I've never heard. Oh man, that's classic. That is classic. There's Rocklick Ranch. Shalom, sister. Thanks for your comment lately, Rocklick. I think you were the only one who answered my question on the community thing. PJ for Secretary of Defense, somebody said.
I'd rather be Secretary of State if that's just as good.
He'd rather be Sec State, although we are very, very much liking being retired and just chilling in the woods. Nighty night, I have to go to bed. Shalom all. Well, thanks for stopping by, Pharma. She's also known as Comfy Goat Soap on Instagram, and she sells goat soap, and she does these amazing little crochet animals too. Love y'all, but I gotta go. 4:30. All right, shalom. Who, me? I'm 50, said Aid. My parents had to apologize for Carter's ineptitude at official events when in Brasilia. PJ for War General. If he was going to do that, he'd have stayed in. Adequate would have been 6 years old when it happened. Aid. How about SecDef? That's right, SecDef. Gotta bounce. Wife needs me. Shalom, y'all. All right. I get the impression that you guys are getting tired and you're getting ready to leave. So let's look at this. Will Iran escalate? This was my poll, and 84% of you said yes. And 16% of you said no. So that means we could be looking, in your opinion, now I'm not saying it's going to happen, but in your opinion, this is going to become a bigger international incident. And I hope that's not true, but by golly, it certainly could be now. Network is crapping out. Gotta go. Good night, y'all. Shalom. Night, night, night. Everyone's going to say night. I'm heading out. Love and blessings to you both. Same to you. Look forward to the next time we see you. Now, the official part we discussed. I think we've done as much as we can or want to about that. So just for a few minutes, I am open to questions. If you have questions about the belief system, if you have questions about our homestead, or anything like that, let's do that for just a few minutes, and I will see. Lone Star Living, I would like to know how your homestead is doing. Glad I have a great Pyrenees now to guard the house. Things are getting sketchy with crime also. That's an excellent comment. Gosh. Well, we had a sister come to one of our gatherings. She is an older lady living by herself, and she brought this big, healthy looking German Shepherd with her. And I thought, good for her. Good for her. I think having a large dog who will at least bark. Man stopper's better, but sometimes when you're older and not so strong, it's going to be hard for you to control, certain breeds. But if you can get a large dog who at least will bark, and Pyrenees are pretty intimidating, even though most of the time they're just big teddy bears. They're usually a little bit, calm too. Like they're not like a Doberman Pinscher who's like raring to go. Your Pyrenees looks like a white rug in your front yard, but they have their limits, and when something comes within them, they will stand up, all 140 pounds of them, and woof. And, I think that's a pretty good deterrent. I mean, that one on the internet became famous because it fought a whole coyote pack of like 11 coyotes or 12 and killed 8 of them. Like, come on now. Yeah, Pyrenees are pretty cool. Definitely an extended proxy war, says Lone Star Living. Makes me nervous. It worries me kind of like last election. The Dems are not really putting out an effort, kind of like they don't feel they need to. Yeah, that's a really good point. And we called it last election. If something happens to Biden, she becomes president. And she seems, in her debate with Trump the first time, she seemed very aggressive. Nothing like the giggling, what did he call her? Cackling chief or whatever. Oh my gosh. And I wondered if that was all an act. And now I'm thinking maybe she's going to come out like a pit bull frothing at the mouth, because she was really, she was pretty aggressive in the first debate. Would you be willing to answer a few questions about Scott? Sure would. This is our first time celebrating the fall feast. Could I send the questions in a comment from this video or email? Just ask them. Shalom, Jacqueline. What grape variety grows well for you? 7, Heather 7. The grapes that grow here are wild. And so I think they are muscadine, because that's what a lot of the wild grapes in America are, or Concord. And they were planted, 200, 600. The Vikings that hit Canada, the coast of Canada, called it Vinland for Vineland because there were wild grapes growing there. So I have not tried to grow commercial grapes here, except one vine. I don't remember what the variety is, and it's been doing really poorly ever since I planted it. So the wild muscadines are what are growing well for me. Rocket Claims, did you have a drought? We had the worst one in 130 years in southern Ohio. We had a pretty bad drought last year, and right now we haven't had rain in 3 weeks, I think, and it's kind of starting to affect us. But overall, the summer was pretty good with the rain. When are you observing Day of Atonement? It's the 10th, dusk, 10th to 11th. No, it's Friday the 11th. Dusk, Friday the 11th. There you go.
Starts Friday.
Right, starts Friday at dusk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, starts Friday at dusk. Homestead is great, expanding with the mag, making progress, and all positive. I'm happy for you. Amy Martin, thanks for your voice of reason. I work at home, told the boss. Neighbor told her car last night hit a deer. We need to go make ourselves sustainable a bit. Yeah, go see what you can get out of that. Make some jerky. People are really intimidated by him. He is small for a Pyrenees, only 90 pounds. Yeah, that was Casper that did that. Rob Painless, howdy Kate and everyone in the chat. Rob, did you ever answer me back? Can I get some pigeons? Those baby ones you found are like, man, I'd like to have some pigeons, and they sure look like they needed a place to go. Thank you, Sister Kate and PJ. I appreciate all that you do. Y'all are a breath of fresh air in a world of insanity. Well, thank you. We have a great Pyrenees who lives with the goats most of the time, but is doing time with our mules now. Ooh, do you ride your mules or plow with them? What are the Bible verses we should read during each day of Sukkot?
No requirement.
Right, there's no requirement to do that, George. Don't some people read Ruth?
You can just Google it. Sukkot verse Sukkot.
Yeah, if you just Google it, you'll get I think it's more a tradition of whatever verses that you read during each day of Sukkot. Nothing wrong with reading the word every single day, George, so I don't want you to think we're against it. We just I don't have them memorized. Casper won Farm Dog of the Year for going 11-1 with at least 8 coyotes dead. Awesome dog. He was injured, though. He lost an eye, and I forget what else. Whoop, hey. We want to try Concord in eastern Oklahoma, so hoping it succeeds, but we will ask around if anyone has some wild muscadine they can share. And you really just need either the seeds of the fruit or a clipping from the vine, and you can put it in the ground and cover it with dirt, and it should sprout the next year, I think. Wish we could get some rain here on the island. Only 1/10 of an inch since August. Yeah, that's a little bit. And how ironic is it that we haven't had rain in 3 weeks, and North Carolina, eastern Tennessee got flooded, right? It's just like, we would like some of that, and I'm sure you'd rather have given us some of that. If the bottom of the grape leaves are fuzzy, they might be Mustang grapes. And Mustang grapes can be made into wine too. What is an ascending offering? What is an ascending offering? It is something you burn.
Bottom line is you got to do it at the temple, and the temple
Right.
is now within us, so don't worry about it. We do barbecues.
Right. It is something you burn as an offering. Our praise and worship is an offering nowadays because we have Yeshua, and because there is no temple and no priesthood, you can't really do an actual ascending offering. So what we wind up doing, which is kind of like an ascending offering, is barbecuing some meat. We're having hamburgers and hot dogs, so it's kind of symbolic of that. I'll see if I can gather up a few pigeons for y'all. Man, if we could only train them to fly here, if we could just GPS, you know what I'm saying? Put a little coordinate thing on them and say, all right, now just go up there. All saddle mules. I worked draft horses for 20 years logging. Wow, you're a guy who has valuable skills. I love that. All right, careful with mules and dogs. I hear donkeys can have a tendency to kill dogs and sheep and goats. One reason I don't have guard donkeys. I have seen a reel of a donkey attacking a goat. Shalom, a Fox family. Thanks and good night. From Mike James. I know there's a difference between mules and donkeys, but just a thought. Well, mules are bigger. Mules are half horse, half donkey. Donkeys are smaller. Casper was hurt pretty bad. He lost his tail and part of an ear, but I think he recovered. It was a miracle he even lived. He was hurt so bad, but he was a trooper. And they have super thick fur. Homing pigeons. Exactly right. Let's get those pigeons and just... Come on now, we should be able to, don't you think, put a little chip on them and just program it in a GPS way? That would be fantastic. All right. Any other questions or comments? Good night. All stay safe and well. Thanks for coming to the live stream, Kay. Appreciate you being here. Actually, I appreciate everyone who came and comes to the live streams. When our phones go down, we'll send notes via pigeons. Hey, pigeons played a big part in World War I and part of World War II. My meals may be half-assed, but they are my friends. Ha ha, great joke. Birds are CIA spy devices. Shalom, saints. Gotta get going. Keep on keeping on, brothers and sisters. Just knowing how to work draft animals is such an important skill, because before tractors, that is how you plowed. That is how you pulled things. And there's still videos online of like 18-wheel trucks getting off-road in ice and snow, and some Amish guy and all his friends bringing 20 teams of draft horses and hooking them all together and pulling 18-wheelers out of ditches. Like, it's an amazing amount of power 2 large horses have. All right, shalom and good night to you. Can't wait for New Year's Eve to see how the predictions went. Thank you for mentioning that, Matthew, because last year YouTube like flagged our predictions and wouldn't let me post them, wouldn't let me post that video. And it was a good video. And I think they did the same thing the year before. I don't know. I mean, I had to write a little letter and stuff to them and say, look, hey, it's all in fun. We're not, prophesying or whatever that anything's going to happen. It was such a headache. So hopefully we'll be doing something. Gunshot? What? Do you think dream catchers are evil? I heard this and didn't know why they would be. Your thoughts, please. Okay, CB, I will give you my opinion. I think dream catchers, if you're going to actually give them some power, and the name kind of implies that they would have power to catch a dream, it is pagan. So I personally am not going to hang one up. That's just how I feel about it. Trying and dining. I used to serve with an officer named Pridgeon. Good guy, though. I'm sure he got a lot of ribbing about that. Reminds me of Jethro Tull's Heavy Horses. That's old school. Gotta clock in. Good night, SK. Good to see you, Johnny. You'll have to go to YouTube re-education camp. Basically, it was that. They had a whole other thing where you're supposed to, read these little scenarios and answer questions about them. And if you didn't get it right, you needed to go back and do it again. I mean, it was a thing. Gesundheit, not gunshot. Thank you. That's, what do you call it? It's like AI. You get a few letters and it just guesses what word you want. Trying and dining, laugh out loud. Oh, I see what you're saying. None of your beeswax. You came in at the very end. Hey, brother, God bless you too. I hope everything's going well for you in your new home. Got to get going. Been a wonderful stream. Shalom. Large animal agriculture and transportation was how civilization worked before World War I. Can't really replace it once the gas trucks stop running. Now I am afraid. Horses, mules, oxen, and donkeys. That's exactly my point. Just got in from working. I thought you were retiring. None of your beeswax? You mean like on your property? I have horsewoman skills. I owned 2 horses. I know how to pick up feed. I know how to throw a saddle on, put a bridle on. I actually, with my second horse, who was a Morgan, was given old draft horse strapping. Gosh, my brain is... and I bought the collar, and I brought the hames that went around the collar, and then I kind of sized it down to him because he was a lot smaller than a draft horse, and was trying to train him to pull to be attached to something and pull. But I didn't have a lot of experience in it, and so I didn't do that effective of a job. But the last thing he ended up pulling was my Jeep. We got him on a flat surface and put the Jeep in neutral, and one of us was at his head and the other one was in there steering, and he could pull the Jeep. Like, horses are amazingly strong. The cows don't let me retire. So you're a rancher now, is what you're talking about. Have you ever owned fjord horses? Hang on, whoa. We've been considering them. I have not owned a fjord horse, but a friend of mine had a half fjord pony, and I love the coloring. They are supposed to be mild-mannered, easy to get along with. They're not very big, and I am sure they're probably very hardy, especially in your area. So I think it's worth looking at. I really do. Do you have experience with horses? You would be amazed how many people have literally never even seen a horse up close. I bet 80% of people have never even touched a horse. And you're probably right. They are very much last century and the centuries before. Automobiles, gas engines really replaced them. Replaced them. All this talking makes me burp. I love the smell of a horse. I love riding. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. My oldest girl has shown her Morgan. Brandy Alexander. Nice name. Yeah, mine was not a show horse. He was 100% Morgan, but I wanted him for his hardiness, sure-footedness, and ability to eat less than perfect food. And I liked his coloring and his height. His name was John Singleton Mosby. Maybe even 95% have not. Something I really like about America, and it came out in a movie recently and in some of the National Geographic magazine, is how many inner city stables there actually are in some of our bigger cities, and how the African American population are the cowboys who are a lot of times interacting with those stables, running those stables, teaching people how to ride, doing cowboy stuff and rodeo stuff and everything else. I think horseback riding is universal. Anyone can learn about horseback riding and do horseback riding, and many different people do. I mean, look at Afghanis, look at Kazakhstanis, look at Mongols. China has people horseback riding, Brazil. It's a world thing. It's not an American thing. Thank you. You're welcome. Do you have horse experience? I had to go to Google. Fjord horses, beautiful. Yeah, they're really, really, they have a really unique coloring. It's this lovely light tan with some white and some black in them. They're adorable. And they're supposedly Viking, useful and all that. How many know about what a flake of hay is? How many people, because I saw this in Montana, how many people know how to make a haystack? Because we drove by lots of baled hay, and then there was one farm where they were just doing haystacks, and big ones. I've pet a few horses, that is all. Well, it sounds like within the prepper community, perhaps we need to work on our horsemanship skills and start looking for horse farms and horseback riding lessons. My inner thighs remember horseback riding. That's right. It is rough on your legs if you don't do it regularly. My girlfriend raises sheep. Flake is certainly in my vocabulary. That's a feeling you never forget. Even in Afghanistan and the Philippines, we rode horses. So there you go. So you have experience. No problem. Yeah, I rode horses in the Philippines when I was a kid, up in Baguio. Sure did. And took horseback riding lessons in the Philippines. I took horseback riding lessons at a stable there that did English style riding and had the whole outfit and loved it. The job furs and the leather boots and the hat, all of it. That's where I first learned horseback riding, like walk, trot, all that, how to canter, how to post, and then applied that when I got back to the States to Western style saddles, because that's what most people had, but still posted because it's way more comfortable. Houston has a lot of horse stuff for a big city. Their livestock and rodeo show is world famous. There's Palmetto Paratroopers. Shalom, y'all. You're coming in at the very end of this thing, Palmetto, but you are welcome, and you're a moderator. I've not ridden a horse since I was 17. Well, it would be come on now, you haven't ridden a horse where you are? You didn't ride horses with the people you're hanging out with down there? Late hello. Speaking of mares, it happens. Just put the kids to bed. Mrs. Lovely Dudley. Oh, shalom. Super late shalom. It was bed bath time for the little guy. It's a lovely time, bed bath and go to bed time with kids. They're so cute when they're tired. CB, I had a Welsh pony, or Welch. When I was a kid, before me, she had special needs kids rider. She was so sweet. Yeah, Welsh ponies are usually very well trained. Late hello here, my 125212252. My wife says I smell like the places I was working today and I need a shower. Thanks for the stream. Sorry I got here so late. Nice to see everybody. See you later, Rob, and welcome Westhold Forge. Looks like I'm late. Yes, all you latecomers though, this thing will turn into a video and you can watch it as a video, you know, and you can fast forward and all that. We did do some talking about what am I trying to say? The events of the day with Israel and Iran and Lebanon and all that. We talked about that and the election. So you might want to go through it later when you have time. It's mostly cattle and coyotes around here. Great chat as always. Alas, I have to hit the rack. Shalom one and all. Thanks for coming around, Harbor Prepper. Amy Martin. Heard the sarcasm right there with you. My family is uber sarcasm. Yeah, a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of sass. Finished up PC canning apple butter so I can sell it. A whopping 7.5 cases of pints. Nice. Hey, I wanted to jump on and give a little bit of information. I'm a pilot for a DOD pilot. The company I work for is taking half loads and tanking fuel back to the U.S. I'd top off everything. So that is in relation to the strike on the East Coast and also the war stuff, correct? Talking about fuel shortages being possible, hon. That's the plan. Looking forward to your perspective. Made a deal with the last horse I rode, let me live. Well, you need to be smart about picking them. Hello, Greek Homestead. Heart from the encouraging community, and sorry for the typos. Let's see. Okay. All right. Any of you latecomers have any questions? I'm getting ready to close this thing down, but I don't want to just, you know, if you came on specifically to say stuff, I want to, are you talking about the situation in the Middle East? Yes, ma'am. What is your perspective? Greek Homestead, what do you think is going to happen? Because you're coming in at the end of the live stream, we've already discussed all that stuff. But when it's a video, you can watch it. But I would like to hear what you think about it, since you're way closer to it than we are. Yes, the strike and the war stuff. The company I work for is spending a lot of money bringing back fuel in the planes and losing money by not carrying as much stuff. So they're thinking they probably need that fuel and that everyone should now think they should be topping off fuel. Got it. Thank you. Your information is great. Love you. Much appreciated for your family, and you're part of my family, yet not blood. Relieve some family, and it's better than some of the real people I know. Well, thank you, Herb. It's just how our lives played out. We are who we are. A didn't answer me either. You gonna tell me what you think about what's going on over there, Aid, vis-a-vis stuff? Shalom, I'll watch the replay. I always like to hear your perspective. Thank you, Kay Curry. Appreciate it. Life is fixing to be harder, but we'll be okay. Praise Yah. I think it certainly could be a lot harder. Thank you for doing this. I can't wait to catch up on the replay. You're welcome. I felt like it had to be done. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I feel like we've generally got stuff and organized and ready, and we've got enough experience to handle things. I'm only worried about fuel shortages at this point. Fuel shortages would be a huge deal for the US because we're so dependent on our vehicles. That's why when we just started having this talk about horses and mules and things, there's not a lot of alternatives without the fuel. Bicycles. And bicycles are pretty good. You can go a long way on a good bicycle. You're going to need extra parts for it. But even old people can ride bicycles. And I don't know how many Americans even bother to bike anymore. And some people won't need to travel very far because they live near things, in a city with stuff. But if the gas is a shortage, then, personal driving around is going to be curtailed just because of that. It can be very difficult. The situation is tense, but it has been tense for decades. It's like living a seismogenous area. You get used to the earthquakes, but I believe we live close to the end, so things will get worse. Well, we had a poll here, Greek Homestead, and 84% of the people said that they thought it was going to get worse. Thought Iran would escalate it. Ledwin Mayor, Shanks Mayor. His messengers surround us if we ask and believe. That's true. Not safe to bike in many urban areas, especially at night, unfortunately. Well, and biking at night would be difficult without a light anyway. Hard to get a bug out location over an hour away without fuel. Yes, it is, unless you intend to do some walking. And how many Americans do much walking these days? You know what it's like. If you have to walk to some other bug out location, you're not going to be carrying a whole lot of stuff with you, and you shouldn't anyway. But you're going to have to be capable of it. And how many Americans are capable of walking for days and days and days? An hour probably isn't even far enough away. I got the saw's bullseye, sweetie.
All right, whatever you said, he agreed with you.
That's right. Got the bullseye. Shanks is your own feed. That's right. Mayor Shanks. That's right. And you know what else you're going to need if you have to do that? Oh, excuse me. Besides stamina, you're going to need some good boots. Yeah, you are. Because walking for miles and miles, you're going to wear out crappy Chinese-made shoes. Stay survived. Shalom. Walking with a ruck is different. All the Army and Marine Corps vets can tell you, even most of us remps. That's right. Good shoes and socks. Wool. Wool is a good sock to have. Absolutely. What boots do you recommend? I don't wear a lot of boots, but I tend to like Keen hikers and Keen sandals. I wear Keen sandals all summer long. These ugly brown ones. I forget what they're called, but they're by Keen. Morel boots are pretty good quality. Man, I'm trying to think. The people to ask are these military guys because they do a whole lot more hiking. Knees would be nice. Yep, you need some knees to walk. I don't think I own sneakers for walking, just work boots, mud boots, and Crocs. Well, I like the low hikers. And I used to get them at Cabela's before they turned into Bass Pro Shop. A leather boot that is water resistant. I've been a cyclist for over 40 years and lived in one of the roughest places in the UK, and I've never had a problem. Well, because the UK is different. We're talking about downtown Los Angeles and parts of DC. You're not going to bike through there. You're not going to survive going through parts of big cities in America. What the military uses are pretty good now. They are also long-lasting. Bellevue desert boots are decent. The best boots are broken-in boots. They sure are. You do not want to buy boots and have to walk a long way brand new. As a matter of fact, I've seen my husband get new boots, get them soaking wet, wear them soaking wet until they dry, and then be able to wear them without blisters. So you want sturdy boots, you want boots that are water resistant and are comfortable on your feet. Dunham is an inexpensive boot, holds up so-so. And then there's that one they sell. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. Rock something. What's that boot they sell at Walmart?
Rocky?
No, the one that Alex was wearing.
WW3.
I can't remember. My feet look like raw hamburger in basic training. Yes, break them in. Rockport, maybe. Yeah. All right, y'all. I think that's it for me. I'm getting tired. PJ wants my attention. I appreciate everyone who came to the live stream. And again, for you latecomers, it will be a video once I shut it down, and you will be able to get the points, and please comment. I really appreciate comments. I appreciate feedback from y'all. Rocky. I wear a solo boots, but they are not inexpensive. Blessings to you both. Thank you. Shalom and love you. Thanks, SK. Good night, all. Thank you, SK, for great conversation. Thank you for showing up. Back to my roots. And Lane and Wold and Kate Caro. I follow PJ. Do you have a channel? Yes, Kate Curry, you're on it. Sister Kate, Shofar Mountain. And if you want to support it, you join where the blue join thing says. And then there are a couple of levels, just like Patreon. And really, your benefits are that you get call outs. And if you're at the chieftain level, which is the most expensive level, then I'm writing a book and I put excerpts up for my chieftains. And the Neo Pioneers get like little, I can't remember, not memes, little pictures next to their name. And you get a call out on live streams. Shalom, y'all. Have a good rest of the night. Thank you so much. Thank all of y'all. My crew is awesome. Appreciate it. And I like to follow like-minded women. Amen. Everyone else who's a believer, trumpets, blow your shofar. Shalom, y'all. Shalom.